Hello YouTube, it's PlayerA here, and we got another installment in the tutorial series. So in this episode we will be focusing on the parts of the battle board, movement, general discard, flipping gear, and range and swift. And so let's start with range and swift. This is something that I think a bunch of people find confusing, so I'm just going to clear it up for you guys now. I'll show you some familiar cards from Dawn of Perram first, which aided that confusion. So, Krek and Raren. Good staple Underworld Dawn of Perram cards. They both have range. Now, range means this creature may move through occupied spaces. But the thing is, you can't use range without swift. So, you see what range means? Swift, for example, Takinum, Swift 1. That means you can move one extra space. So, any creature can move one space in any direction, you know how it goes. Swift means you can move one extra space, so I have my 10v10 board set up here. Let's say since Takinam has Swift 1, she's here, and my opponent has a creature here. Now normally you can't get to them, but if you have Swift, then you can, and Swift 1 in this case, you can move one extra space, so 1, and then 1, so 2. So that's how that works. And then, so yeah, you need Swift in order for range to work. Multiple copies of range on a card are redundant. Swift is cumulative, so if it says range twice, it shouldn't say that, and no card does. But if it says Swift and then it has an ability, like say sacrifice Muji counter, gain an additional Swift, then you would add them up, and then it would be Swift 2 or whatever. So that's how that works. Now, you all know I love Ninrin. And so he has range and swift. And so that means that he can move the extra space and move through occupied spaces. So for example, if I have these two opposing creatures here, and I want to attack a creature back here, and my Ninrin is here, well, since he has range and swift 1, I can move through these occupied spaces and get to the back with the extra move, so 1, 2. That's how that works. And it only applies to creatures. That's the only thing you can move on the battle board. Now, creatures can have range innately. Locations like the Darkened Dunes or Mephinim Mirage can give them swift. The Bimolar Cycle or Skeletal Steed can give you range and swift. So if my Ninrin had the Bimolar Cycle, he would have range and swift 2, which means he can move 3 spaces instead of 1. So again, the way Swift works is, if it's Swift 2, you add 1, and then you can move a total of 3 spaces. So, let's get to Battle Gear, and we'll just focus on the Bimolar Cycle in a sec. So, all your creatures have a Battle Gear. At the start of the match, you have to. And it starts the match face down, like this. And then as soon as they become engaged, it goes face up, like the Ring of Narn. But cards that specifically say at the bottom here, this battle gear begins the game face up, or reveal this battle gear at the beginning of the game, like the Magma Shard here. As soon as the game starts, you flip it up. It's fairly simple. Other things that can flip up gear: Mujic, Gear Glissando, Mephidian Mujic, spend Muji counter, flip target, battle gear, face up or face down. So whichever you choose. The Destructizuka. When Destructizuka is revealed, so you start the match, it's face down. When your creature with the Destructizuka gets engaged, it's revealed, and then you choose Element and Element 5. And then this is only as when it's revealed. In order to use it, you would have to flip it back down, and then flip it up again. And so you can use a Gear Glissando for that, and we'll get back to that in a moment. So now let's discuss some other movement abilities. And so I have Agitos, Eloquent Motivator here. And so his ability is sacrifice 2 Muji counters. Target creature gains. If an adjacent opposing creature can move into this creature's space, it must do so. So I know that sounds a bit confusing, but I'll just illustrate it for you. So say Raren is on Agitos' team, Ninrin is on the opposing team. Now, say it's Ninrin's controller's turn, so it's his attack. If I use this ability on Ninrin, or target creature, I would use this ability on Raren, and then any adjacent creatures that my opponent controls would have to attack him. So if I use this on Raren, then Ninrin would have to attack Raren. So that's how that works. Another ability is Rothar Forceful Negotiator. It's kind of the opposite, or it's very similar. Rothar must move into an adjacent occupied space if able. So if it's my attack, my location, and there's an opponent's creature next to Rothar, he has to attack a creature. You can't pick one of your other creatures to attack. So it's basically, if Rothar can fight, he has to. And that's also a fairly straightforward ability. I know this all seems a bit messy, but bear with me. Music relating to movement. So Song of Stasis is an old music. Until the end of turn, target creature cannot move. So whichever creature you cast this on, if they wanted to attack, then they couldn't because they can't move. They have to stay in their spot until, so say it's their location, they have to stay there until it's my location, and then they wouldn't be able to attack anyways. So that's how that works. Song of Translocation says, relocate target creature you control to an unoccupied space on the battleboard. Now, relocate and move are two different things. Relocate basically means you teleport them, and then they can do their move. So relocate does not count as the creature moving in space. So, for example, my Raren is here, and I cast Song of Translocation. Say I do. And then I can move him and pretend my opponent has a battle board here. I can move him there, and then do my move and move one space up. So that's how that works. Let's do discard pile now. So everyone knows I like compost decks, and so your discard pile on the battle board is this thing here. So whenever a music gets played, or whenever a creature gets coded, or a battle gear, if a creature has a battle gear equipped to them and they die, the battle gear also goes with them to the discard pile. This is your graveyard. And so almost everything except locations and attacks can go to your discard pile. So creatures, music, battle gear. That's pretty much it. And so with the compost effect, just as an example, because this is one of the biggest threats that come from the discard, when you have these guys, among other guys, in the discard, so after they've been coded, then your other Mandiblores will gain their effect. And so there's a lot of decks that utilize the discard pile, like Glost decks. For each Conjurer of mine that is killed, Glost gains Earth 5, Air 5, and 5 energy. And so then there are decks entirely based around the discard pile, like Damian Compost decks, or Glost decks, or other things, like decks that use Bodil's Arsenal. So you can sacrifice a gear, and then get it back, and then this usually involves cycling, because you're just constantly sacrificing and getting it back and using that effect. Now, the reason this is important because you can't ignore the discard pile in a game, and so a thing to eliminate those threats is Lore Saber Recall. So when you remove all general discard piles from the game, any cards that are in the general discard, so let's say these two are in the general discard, they're removed from the game. They cannot be used in the game in any way, shape, or form. They're gone. It's as if they never existed. They can't be affected by any other cards. And that applies to anything, creatures, battle gear, music. All gets removed from the game. Another thing that can do this is music. Forgotten Origins. So let's say, I'm also going to illustrate the burst for you guys. So the burst is when a music or ability or attack is played, and then it's if your opponent has a chance to respond. So let's say my Raren has been coded. I'm using Raren as an example creature a lot. And I have my Agitos, and I cast a Song of Revival. So this will start a burst, and now my opponent has a chance to respond. So the way the burst is, the effects will pile up, and so whatever gets played first will resolve last. Resolve just means it'll do whatever the card thing says. So when this Song of Revival resolves, and then it goes, and its effect is not negated, it will return an underworld creature card in the discard pile to an open space. And so, if I respond, or my opponent responds, by playing Forgotten Origins, and then the person who played the Song of Revival doesn't respond, then the burst starts resolve. So the thing that was played last will resolve first. So in this case, since this is on top, it was played last, and it will resolve first. So remove all cards in the general discard pile from the game. That means Rarin will be removed, and then this Song of Revival will do nothing because there is nothing in the general discard pile. So that's how that works. And then, what else should I cover? End of turn. End of turn usually means at the end of the battle. So, say my Noaz goes into battle, and someone on my team casts this Song of Shelter on him, and doesn't get negated or anything. So until the end of that battle, he may not be the target of any music or abilities. But then after the battle is over, and he wins, all damage that is dealt to him will be removed, and his energy will be back to 50, or if he has a gear, whatever that adds on to. But then this effect will go away, and he will be back to his normal state as if nothing had ever happened. So that's what end of turn means. Also, another thing to illustrate turns, Topar. So at the beginning of my turn refers to, just so that we're clear, so at the start of the match, say we flip a coin, I get it, I flip up my location, it is my turn. When my opponent flips up his location, it is his turn. But another thing that turn can refer to is attacking. So if it's my attacking turn, I play an attack. If it's my opponent's turn, he'll play his attack. And then you can take turns during the burst. But anyways, so at the beginning of my turn, so say when as soon as I flip up my location, I have to infect an unaffected creature with Topar. So that's what turn means. Alright, now we can go to flipping gear. So we've already discussed flipping gear up at the beginning of the match, and then here's some things that regard flipping gear. So let's go with FastF first. I made a deck with FastF. I'll link to that in the description or in this video. But anyways, when a battle gear equipped to a creature engaged with FastF is flipped face up or face down, deal 10 damage to that creature. So, as you all may recall, when a battle starts, let's say it's FastF versus Wama, as soon as Wama's gear here is flipped face up, FastF's ability is going to deal 10 damage to Wama. And then say, I also feature this in my deck, if I cast Gear Glissando on his gear and flip it down, that's an additional 10 damage. So that's how that ability works. Ulki X, when a creature you control gets a music counter, flip target face up, battle gear face down. So say my Ulki X has him a Petty and Baldur's Flute, and he's on a team with FastF, and it's Wama versus FastF, and I sack it, and he gains a counter, then this goes face down. That's what that means. Now let's refer over to your attack pile. And so when you start the match, you will have 20 attacks here, and then as soon as the first location slips up, you will draw 2 into your hand, and then initiative and such. And so, drawing and discarding. So let's say, just using a few cards to illustrate this to you guys. So here's some drawing and discarding cards. You got a Apocalypse. So if you have all 4 elements, then you get all 4 effects. So flip the opposing engaged creature's battle gear face down. We've already discussed that. Draw an attack card and discard an attack card. So what this means is, I would play Apocalypse. So I would have 3 in my hand. Use this one. Okay. I'm using this one-handed, so just bear with me for a sec. So it's my turn to attack. I have 3 cards in my hand. And Blaze Barrage is also the same thing. It's just if you have fire and air, draw an attack card, discard an attack card. So let's go with that. This is my attack. I play my Blaze Barrage. Now I have to draw an attack back into my hand. So now I'll have 3. And then of these 3 attacks, I pick one to discard in my discard pile. This is your draw pile. This is your attack discard pile. And so let's see. We've got a Gear Grind. Flips all gear face down. Could be useful. Apocalypse. A good attack. I don't want to get rid of that. And Aftermath Feint. Well, Aftermath Feint is a good attack to discard. So I'm going to discard that, and now I have 2 cards in my hand. So that's what that means. So whenever a card says draw and discard so-and-so cards. And so Aftermath Feint also has that effect. So If I play my Aftermath Feint in a battle, and the creature that played that loses that battle, if my creature loses that battle, Aftermath Feint says if your engaged creature is defeated this turn, so this battle, draw 2 attack cards and discard 2 attack cards. So that means that I would pull 2 into my hand, and I would have a total of 4, and I would discard 2, whichever I choose. And so I think that explains that. Another thing that utilizes the attack discard is Cascading Rondo. So it's an Underworld Music. It says swap your attack discard pile with your attack deck, then shuffle your attack deck. So what this is for, this is used for when you have a good attack. And so say I play my Apocalypse, and then I cast Cascading Rondo. So this is my attack discard, this is my attack deck. And I would obviously have the full 20 cards between these two, but I'm just illustrating this for you guys. So when I cast this, I would swap these two, and then if I had more than one card, I would shuffle this, and then these cards would go here. Yeah. And so that's just for getting, you play a good attack and you cast this, and then you get it back in your hand to draw it, play it. And so I think that's everything I wanted to cover today, guys. Thank you all for watching. I know this is a bit of a long and winded episode, but I'm trying to explain this as best as I can. And I thank you all for watching. I'm going to give a shout out to LaFleur Gaming. I'll link to his channel in this video or in the description. He's a pretty good gaming channel. You guys should check him out. He's got over 1,000 subscribers in a really short period of time. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all enjoy. Please leave your comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good one, guys. People are out. Peace.